Going through the new reported Bungie Marathon leaks by Paul Tassi from a couple days ago. We've done some looking at Marathon because it initially was supposed to be like just a straight up extraction shooter. It was going to be pretty hardcore. It seemed interesting enough. But over the last few years, it's gotten a new creative or a new game director. After one of the last guys, he left. We found out later he left and there was like allegations of misconduct and stuff. And he was recently fired just like a week or two ago. So there's drama, certainly, with regards to Marathon. But if we look at just the game, one of the transitions it's made is that they basically hired a new guy who is the former head of Valorant. And he came in, and last we heard, he had transitioned Marathon into a hero-based extraction shooter because it's what he was familiar with after working on Valorant. And a lot of people were not aware of that. So when the news broke, everybody's like, what? You're kidding me. They're doing another hero-based game, but apparently that's what was reported. But there are new leaks. There's new information that they're reporting on. Let's see what it is. Since Bungie has refused to talk about Marathon in any meaningful capacity for ages now, almost all information about the game has come out through reporting or leaks, including a past IGN story which said the game had switched to quote-unquote hero characters under Valorant director Joe Ziegler, and that freaked a lot of people out. Now I've been pointed repeatedly to a long list of leaks about Marathon from leaker Oopsie Leaks, or Oops Leaks. That's funny. I normally may not have bothered, but after reading through them, I have heard at least some of these broad strokes, so I am prone to lend credence to at least some of these points, but I'm not ready to get into specifics, so here are the highlights. Ziegler replaced Chris Barrett over a year ago. We know this is true, though the recent Barrett firing story, I'm not sure many people realize the timeline of that. The content creators that have been doing monthly playtests are not from hero shooters like Overwatch or Valorant, but Tarkov and Hunt Showdown instead. Again, leaning away from the hero concept being the main thing. We've heard about Tarkov players testing before, even if the game is not supposed to be a Tarkov clone or anything like that. Reportedly, the heroes translate into Forerunner presets that can be customized within those presets, each with different playstyles, which is compared to something like the finals. Okay. Past that, rather than being set hero shooter type weapons, you can indeed heavily customize your weaponry. So this directly answers some of the chief concerns of hearing that they're going heroes. It's like, no, apparently there is still heavy customization. The class idea, it's speculated, is meant to try to solve the monetization as a free-to-play game. We don't know for sure that it's free-to-play, but after Concord's disaster, it seems likely. The idea is that you can visually customize class characters without putting something in like pay-to-win microtransactions. This does sort of align with past reporting that figuring out monetization was a concern for the game. How do we make that money? There are not a million different types of loot to extract, and it's much more streamlined than that. More Hunt than Tarkov. There are large maps that are not procedurally generated, though there was a test about changing things each time within an established map. Okay. There's a seasonal progression similar to Destiny 2's artifact system for bonuses. It's described as the main project at Bungie right now, possibly even above Destiny 2 itself. I'm not sure we know that Marathon has more people working on it than Destiny right now, and at least at the moment, I don't believe that's true. The report indicates that the game is not going to be canceled in the wake of Sony's live service issues, and that is absolutely true. Whether it hits 2025 or hits 2025 is another matter entirely. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're going to can this. This is like the one thing that Bungie has going with a lot of potential. So it doesn't seem like they're going to, toss it, which makes sense. I mean, that's not really a surprise to me. What is interesting to me is that this, again, seems like they're specifically targeting Tarkov players and Hunt Showdown players, which I think there's potentially a crack in the armor there. I mean, Tarkov players are a different breed. It is hyper specialized, and the people that play Tarkov really know that game, and they know like every bit of the hardcore simulation systems in that game. I'm not sure if they come over to a game like this unless, because like a lot of the guys I know that play Tarkov are like gun nuts. They love how grounded and realistic it is. I'm not sure if they come over to something like this if it's more sci-fi, right? Hunt Showdown players, maybe they are more prone to come over here, or maybe they're just trying to go for all new players and it's a totally new game that excites a new wave of people into this type of game. I'm not really sure, but at the very least, it's kind of interesting. Bungie is supposed to start officially talking about it soon, though the report says a controlled leak may start to happen if not. Generally speaking, the report seems quite positive about the direction of the game and at times seems actually angry at its detractors. I don't believe this is someone on the Marathon team, as this is an already established leak account that talks about a wide variety of games, though an insider or playtester may have broken down these details for them. I think the main takeaway here would be the idea that this is not going to employ quote-unquote real heroes, in the sense that it's a fully set character with no gameplay customization at all, which I think is what most people are concerned about, especially given the connection to Valorant through its director. A class type system retaining at least some level of customization, especially in weapons, seems like a good middle ground between fully custom characters and heroes, though I do not fully understand how this would be monetized effectively despite that. It is interesting that they're apparently still struggling to figure out how they're gonna make the money on this, because it might have been that they were like, okay, well, we can kind of be less aggressive on the monetization because we'll charge $70 for it at launch. But now after Concord, I know a lot of people are like, I don't think the price had a lot to do with it. I think knowledge of the price had a lot to do with Concord's failure. I think a lot of people were not that interested in experimenting with the game even when it was free, just because even if they liked it, they would then have to convince all of their friends to try it and like it and spend $40 on it. And that's just another hurdle to get over when you could just keep playing the game you're familiar with. This at least seems to be more of an individual, like it seems to be more unique, which I think will help it. But I mean, if they try to sell this for $70, I don't know how well that works. Maybe for $40, but even then, like, I don't know. Well, in chat, do you guys think that they could get away with like selling this for 40, 50, 60, $70? Like, even if it's pretty good, I think Concord as a video game was pretty good. And I don't think it was bad. In terms of the mechanics, the shooting mechanics were tight, movement was tight, and all that. Offerings were a little sparse and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't think it was like a bad game mechanically. But I don't think you can sell a decent game for $70 or for $40. I think you need a very, very good live service game to sell at that point. You can sell a decent single player game for $40, but I don't think you can sell a decent live service game for $40. They pay $100 a year for Destiny 2's DLC. Yeah, but they're already in that group, you know, they're already hooked and committed to that game. And it's sort of like the sunken cost fallacy. They've already spent so much money on the game that they're like, well, well, you know, I've already spent so much money. I guess I'll spend a little bit more. I think that's how a lot of people approach it. This doesn't cater to PlayStation players, but I mean, maybe that's the goal. This almost certainly launches day and date with PC, right? So I think they're going to try to appeal to those people. It might even launch on Xbox too. I mean, they might bring it to everything. That's very, very possible. So I don't know. I mean, I wish them the best. I hope that they pull it off, because we don't need more flops. We want more good games, without a doubt. But it's going to be interesting to see how this develops, because they're going to start to reveal it soon, because allegedly it comes out next year. And they need it to be a hit. I mean, they really do. Sony spent $3 billion on the game, effectively. Like, Destiny 2 is not making them money actively. It's not paying for itself, apparently, according to the reports. So how else are they going to justify the purchase? Like, they need Marathon to pop off. It's probably like the single highest stakes game that PlayStation has in the works right now. You know, if Naughty Dog has an oopsie release, whatever, it's like, okay, well, but they still are behind The Last of Us, which has an amazingly successful HBO show. Like, they'll be fine. But they need Marathon to go well. So we'll see. He took my thing.